And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. On towards the analyst one more time for the 8 p.m. game with the LG Ultragear TC Gauntlet Season 2, powered by WD Black and AMD Ryzen Radiant. It's going to be your boy Aggressive as the host this time around once again, joined by Crips and Salty to make the Salted Chips duo. As we head on down over onto today's fixtures one more time, let's see who are the teams that are going to be playing this time around. Because honestly, I'm really excited about this matchup. When you consider what happened during the side of match number 1 at the 4 p.m. game, it was an interesting affair of FS Esports going up against the side of Outset. But now it's going to be Velocity versus the side of Team T69. And honestly, here, I don't know, Salty. I feel like this could be one for the books.
This can certainly be one for the best. And honestly, Velocity Gaming, they are already facing the heat. They have a lot of players missing, and up against Team T69, this can be one hell of an affair. I feel like both the teams are very evenly matched. If I see Velocity Gaming at full strength, I would place them a level ahead of Team T69 for that matter, but not right now, which makes it a very even affair, and therefore we're in for a cracker of a game.
Yes, that's also a factor of Velocity being able to, overcome their shortcomings and possibly take out the side of Team T69. But at the same time, it will be very difficult indeed because Team T69, yes, they have a tendency of going a little bit overboard when it comes down to having a little bit too much fun on the server. But at the same time, now that they're facing up against the side of a little bit of an underpowered Velocity, how much are they going to be able to do here? They should be able to roll through, but at the same time, they need to change up their strategies just a tiny little bit. And maybe the curveball that the side of Velocity are throwing by picking up Euphoria here could just be the thing that throws off the side of Team C69 if they're not careful. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, before we do talk about the matchup a little bit more, let's head on over to the MVP standings because we really do need to see who are the people that are tearing through the entire servers and Crips. You already did talk about this during the 4 p.m. game, but do you have any more closing thoughts?
Now, just surprised to see the number 4 position change every now and then. Raw Fuel was here yesterday at the 4th spot. Now Knight Rider's taken his place. SK Rossi, SKL always there. Paradox also just, affirming his position on number 3.
He's always
these
there.
Three, yeah, he's always there. These 3 players have not changed, but the 4th player always keeps on changing. Maybe after today's game, maybe someone from Velocity or someone from T69 will be able to join these 4.
And that's one of the things that I'm really hoping for as well, because when you do consider the caliber of all of the players coming on down to from the side of Velocity and also T69, you'd expect this shift to happen through and through. Velocity, they haven't really been playing a lot of games, and you're going to be seeing that as we do head on down over onto the group standings here, ladies and gentlemen, because when you consider the group standings for both of these teams, they haven't really played a ton of games, but at the same time, they have been playing it through consistently at a very slow pace. Velocity only played 3 games, Team T69 only have played 4, so this is a chance for them to, grow into their shoes and then finally take the world by storm. But at the same time here, Salty, when you look at Velocity state, I'm a little bit worried. If they don't win out here, they could just be facing relegation or just being stuck on that 5 and 6 position.
I mean, see, facing relegation is a completely different thing. I feel like they will eventually come out of that phase once the tournament proceeds further. But right now, if you look at it, they are in the frying pan right now. And I feel like an organization or a team like this shouldn't really be at that position. And because of the recent performances, I feel like their pressure against Team T69 is going to be sky high. You already see Team T69, they are in the 4th spot already. And just like you mentioned, they are chilling, right? They can play against Velocity, put up a good show, might win a map or possibly 2, or maybe even win the series. And if they do so, I guess they are very well in the top 4. But Velocity, they're reading down at the bottom and they got to change things up. One way to do things is possibly bring back their original lineup and maybe add more firepower to their lineup.
Yeah, considering the side of Velocity, they're gonna have a pretty rough game here as well, considering they don't have all of their primary roster players. So going up against the side of a juggernaut, known as the side of Team T69 as well, could just cause a lot of problems for them moving on down the line. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, as we are talking about rosters here, we need to see who exactly are gonna be the ones to head on down over towards the battlegrounds as we do head on down over to the team spotlight for the side of Velocity Gaming and see exactly which of these players are going to be trying to tear up the entire server just a tiny little bit here? And honestly, Crips, I want your thoughts, my man. When you do consider this team, they've done it all from start to finish, but now they're in a pretty tough spot. They're known as the Fallen Kings for a reason because they were the kings originally, but now they're close to the very bottom.
Yeah, the royal nobility is being replaced by a bunch of up and coming players in the form of Euphoria. We do have information that Ace and Hellfighter won't be playing today. So Euphoria is going to be stepping in their place. Vipor is going to be playing MW1. I'm not really sure if he will be present. Matras will probably be there. So Velocity, like I said, the players you see on the screen right now are probably not the players you'll see in the game.
Yeah.
At this point, we don't even know exactly who the playing fire from Velocity is going to be. We'll find out in a bit. But other than that, Velocity Gaming, like you said, they are up against T69, a team which is very, very aggressive when it comes to sticking together as a five-man unit and rushing places at the same time. So their executes are really strong. I think Team Velocity will still be able to hold up their end when it comes to attacking. They can probably put Euphoria as a support player or something like that, and the other four players will still continue running whatever they're comfortable with. But
Mhm.
on defense is something I think they'll struggle with, considering that T69 are also a team which is very execute oriented. They should be able to, dictate the pace of the round and the comfortable spots for themselves without worrying too much about the defense from the side of Velocity.
Yeah, when you consider the really potent defensive side of the side of Velocity, they need to try and be a little bit more careful, but at the same time, having that small hole with team coordination, because as Euphoria is playing, their team coordination won't be at that level as they had previously. But considering the side of team coordination and the players, let's see which of these players are going to be shining the brightest coming on down through from the side of Velocity as we head on down onto their player spotlight powered by none other than AMD Ryzen Radiant, ladies and gentlemen. And honestly, with Vibor on the spotlight, just as we were talking about the Sentinels and about their defensive hold, there's no other person that you want to talk about rather than Vibor. Don't you think so, Salty?
Absolutely. I feel like Bivor and Helef have been those two anchor points for Velocity Gaming that allows the rest of the players to have a free role and just go havoc in the entire server. I feel like without these guys, Velocity wouldn't be half the team they are. And it's not always the kills, deaths, and assists that talk about how good these players are. I feel like their placements, their positioning, and the way they just let their teammates play and let their teammates fly around and destroy everybody else. That is a very key component in Velocity Gaming structure, and I feel like without Vivor and Helef, this team, yeah, they wouldn't be as great as they are. They wouldn't be Velocity themselves.
Yeah, honestly, Vibora is one of those players that have taken clutches out of literally the grasp of their opponents. 1 versus 4, 1 versus 5. Doesn't matter if it was a 1 versus 6 where Sage just arrests someone out of absolute nowhere. You could count on Vibor to be that absolute anchor for your team and pull off miracles here and there. He's like a certified clutch minister of not just the team, but also our entire region because he has proven himself to be an amazing clutcher, not to right to Aces caliber, because he's known as a right to clutch for a reason. But he's learning. He's like that small, young, up and coming talent that Right to Ace is trying to teach how to clutch so he can build himself to be an absolute driving force moving on down forward, not just for velocity, but also to showcase the entire world that he's an incredible player. That's just the side of velocity, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's talk a little bit more about a little bit more of that high stakes players and a little bit more of those fun players known as the side of Team T69 as we head on down onto their team spotlight, sorry. Because honestly, these players don't really need an introduction because they also have done it all, but at the same time, they did it in a little bit of a different fashion, don't you think so, Crips?
Yeah, definitely. These guys are the kind of team that rolls together, but hey, they're a wrecking ball when they decide to hit you, and they are a very heavily momentum-based team. If you stop them in their tracks right at the start, you might just have a chance of winning the round. But that's the thing: winning one round is never enough because these guys are very good on ecos as well. So you need to string round together. You need to build up an economy if you want to stop T69. Otherwise, if you're not able to stop their momentum, they will use that to their advantage and they will run you over like a truck.
Yeah, these guys, they know how to bring in the hurt really quickly, but they're very much a team that is map dependent. When you consider something like a default, something like a strategy, you're not really going to be seeing a lot of rocket science coming on down from them. For example, we know for a fact that Velocity, they have a plethora of strats for every single map, but when you consider the side of Team T69, they like to adapt a lot more. They like to be a little bit more random. They like to be overly aggressive. Sometimes they play it very slowly. They're very unpredictable. And I do believe that their unpredictability could be the downfall of the side of Velocity if Velocity are not able to adapt themselves according to the situations that are put in. But at the same time, let's see who is going to be the most aggressive player and probably the more, let's say, rambunctious player from the side of T69 as we head on down over onto their player spotlight, powered by none other than AMD Ryzen Radeon, ladies and gentlemen. And it's going to be none other than a very, he's not really rambunctious, I would say. He's much more of that cool, cunning Fox, as we do know him. So, Salty, talk us right through this guy.
I feel like he is one of those controllers who can give you as much map control as you need. His smokes are perfect. The way he positions his flashes are perfect. He also gets in very obnoxious positions with shot step as well. And again, just like I mentioned, it's not always your KDA or your ACS that really matters, right? He hasn't played that much to kind of boast a very good CV on the KDA. But yeah, I feel like his gameplay in general is something which really helps Team T69 get those aggressive round victories and those eco victories, just like Crips mentioned. Also, Fox does have the capability to 1v5 clutch any team out there. So that's again an added feather in his cap.
Yeah, Fox is one of those players that could absolutely tear down any sort of opposition hold that they can do. But at the same time, Fox is one of those players that I would like to see on the Killjoy and the Cypher just a little bit more because of the way he likes to play around different sidelines. So in a way, I really do hope that he is going to be the one picking up the Killjoy and the Cypher from time to time because of his playstyle. But at the same time, nothing to scoff at, my man. This guy on the Omen can pull up plays that are absolutely incredible. And in a way, I feel as the Fox is one of those team members that the side of Team T69 really need to rein everyone in just a tiny little bit because everyone else, they just like to go in fast, they like to go in hard. And Fox is like that, he's like that old man for the team, but technically not an old man, but knows what he's doing. He likes to play it a little bit much more slower. So that's the side of Team T69, ladies and gentlemen. But as all good fights need to happen, it needs to be in a proper battlefield. So let's head on down over to the map video screen and see exactly where we're going to be headed. Because honestly, Team T69, they need very good maps to start everything off, and they're going to be starting off with one of their best here. And with Split starting it all up, and Haven being picked up as the second and the third being Icebox, Crips, I believe that this is going to be an extremely interesting set that could just go to 3 maps.
So we know that Split does happen to be a map where you can snowball out of control if you start well on the defensive side. If T69 are starting on attack, they will have to be wary of whatever Velocity bring to the table. Since Velocity is starting on defense, I think all that T69 need to do is hold off for as long as they can and not let Velocity build up too big of a momentum. Because they know that once T69 are on Split, on the defensive side, they will literally go ahead and fight them one by one, and it's going to work for them. I know that usually fighting one by one is not something you're supposed to do, but because T69 are very comfortable with this and their crossfires are not that intact, but then they consider themselves to be a very aggressive bunch, they can still pull off rounds even after doing unorthodox stuff. And we saw that in the game that they played yesterday. So that's their win condition for Split. They should not let Velocity build up too much momentum while they are on the first half. In Haven, though, I don't know what T69 will do. Velocity have this map under lock and key, and I'm pretty sure that T69 will struggle against them. But hey, as long as they have Split for themselves, they can push this game to Icebox, which could be anyone's game.
Honestly, this is the place where I do believe that all of these teams could just be facing a couple of issues. When you consider the map of Split, I do believe that I'm leaning a little bit more towards the side of Team T69 because of what they pulled off previously. But at the same time, this is Velocity we're talking about. So Velocity, they know for a fact of how to counteract a lot of the strategies that could be coming on down through from the side of Team T69. But are they going to be able to adapt in time? Because with the random strategies that they do employ on the map of Split, things could just be a little bit more difficult. And Haven, it's Haven, man. We don't really need to say anything about it. And Icebox is Icebox. We'll get to that when it does come through, because I have a lot of interesting questions to see how the side of Team T69 are going to be playing that map in particular. But ladies and gentlemen, honestly, it was an incredible showing coming on down from both of these teams and their journey here, but now is the real test. Will they be able to go up against each other properly and take down the opposition in a very good way? Because you need to consider something. If the side of Team T69 are able to even get one map, there's no way the side of Velocity can edge out the gap here. So in a way, Velocity need to take this 2-0. Otherwise, it's going to be almost like it's going to be literal death's door for them if T69 actually have a chance of properly getting points here. 6 points, that's going to hurt them a lot moving it down from the long run, because that 1 point could be the make it or break it for the side of Velocity to reach on down over into playoffs. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I know for a fact that you all are getting impatient and you want the match to start. So I'm going to be sending these two down over towards the casters just to walk you right through this entire incredible matchup. And we'll be back with you real shortly with the LG Ultragear TC Gauntlet Season 2, powered by W Black and AMD Ryzen Radiant, after a short word from our sponsors.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to LG Ultragear presents TEC Gauntlet Season 2, powered by WD Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon. It's Velocity versus T69. Two of the most popular teams in the country are about to go at each other. And this is going to be one for the ages to come. This is one of those games where you sit down with not just a bucket of popcorn, but you sit down with all sorts of foods. It's going to be a lengthy game. And let's take a look at which maps these guys are going to be playing.
Yep. Maps. Of course, we start off with Split, then we move on to Haven, and then we finally move on to Icebox, which again is a decider. We might not play Icebox, we might play Icebox. There's no certainty. But we talked about the map scripts, and of course, Split, the kind of momentum-based gameplay that it offers, can certainly favor Team T69. Added their unorthodox playing style, I feel like Split should be a 1-0 for Team T69. What are your thoughts? But we move on to Haven, which again is Velocity's stomping grounds. And I don't think the kind of library of stats that Velocity have in Haven, there's any chance Team T69 can possibly even pull off a fight against them in that map.
Yeah, but then considering they have all these recipes to success, but not the chefs today, I think
Oh.
T69 might just be able to make this one work. They don't have their full lineup. Keep this in mind. Yesterday, we saw Velocity lose to Reckoning, a team which certainly should not have posed a threat to this behemoth. But with their players missing, Reckoning were able to make this win possible. Now, not to take away any credit from Reckoning, they played really well. But obviously, if Reckoning can pull off wins against Velocity, then T69 have a better chance. They have a much better standing in the overall groups as well. But without further ado, let's just jump into the agent selection screen and see what we're going to be playing today.
Yep, on the side of on the side of Velocity, UFO is already on the Omen and he has picked it up. Now, lastly, he played the Jet. Now he's playing a controller role, which I feel like should suit him much more. Marzel on the Raze, absolutely phenomenal on this map of Split. Amaterasu is going to pick up the Sage, MW1 on the Reyna. Doesn't really surprise me on that, and Vivor on KJ. So a pretty staple pick for Velocity, just for the fact that UFO has picked up the Omen. Any surprises for you, Crips?
I'm surprised that there are no initiators on the side of Velocity. No initiators whatsoever. They have one controller, two sentinels, and two duelists. I'm even more surprised that MW1 decided to pick up the Reyna instead of the Jet. Hey, but both of them are duelists. Both of them will enable MW1 to pop off. So as long as he hits heads, I'm happy with whichever agent he picks up. From the side of T69, there are no surprises. The Jet and the Raze were definitely expected on a map like Split. Binks with his default Raze, one of his signature characters. Fox on the Breach. Now, this could be big because now you don't only have the flash and dash combo with the Jet Breach, but the Raze could also satchel in on the back of Fox's flashes. And this could be big. We already know that T69 are a very momentum-heavy team, and them starting on the attacking side could give them the lead that they're looking for. Let's jump into the game, ladies and gentlemen, and see what these guys have in store for us.
Yep. I'm already pumping out because honestly, trust me, Team T69 on attack, Velocity on defense, they do have the mid wall, but I'm pretty certain that Team T69 wouldn't contest mid all that much. But considering how unorthodox their playing style is, I wouldn't even be surprised if they make all their way towards A Heavens and then possibly move towards B and then move back towards A. They can do anything and possibly pull off anything that's possible. But look at this right now, 3 or rather 4 players in mid. There's the mid wall, so certainly that's there for Velocity.
So early contact on mid probably will just keep them at bay for now. Both the Omens have committed the smoke. One of them deployed by the defenders to stop the people from coming through that broken gap in the wall. And the other one, which is put down by the attackers, it covers the B Heavens region, which should allow them technically to sneak into the rope room, but they're not headed that way. In fact, now they circle back towards the A side, and they're about to hit it with everything they've got, but they don't have both the smokes available. Now they'll have to use the Cloudburst to cover up screens, but hey, they don't want to battle at screens. They're already in the site, and they've got to pick onto ramps as well. MW1 looking to take back what was lost, but the site has already been conceded, and it seems like the spike will go down anytime soon. They will have SMX to stop anyone from coming from ramps. Meanwhile, anyone who comes in from screens will be taken care of by Edit. Strong start from the side of T69, but can this two-man retake work? If SMX dies to MW1 over here, he can heal up, but SMX catches him looking in the wrong direction, and poor UFO. Second game that he's playing for the team. and he's already put in a very difficult clutch situation, which he doesn't have the odds of surviving.
You know, sometimes it happens in football that when the team is incomplete, sometimes a manager take on the boots and come down to play. It feels like UFO is pulling off this something of similar caliber. Now, I expect him to play well because he's a good player, but up against professional players, it's going to be a little tough for him. So I guess he's probably better suited to deploy the smokes and really help the team set up the team for success. But I love the fact that Team T69 keep things very simple at the start. They try and hit mid to try and thin out the defenses on the A side. They do that successfully, and instantly they hit the E side and get that side control early on. Now they have a Phantom by on one of their guys. I believe it's not really sure who it is, but for sure it can work out. If T69 can get a few picks early on, yeah.
Very aggressive fighting on mid. The pistols are actually starting to win against the Spectres. Both of them run out of their bullets, and that was a little comical to see. But with all these smokes in this place, I think it's going to be difficult for players to move out. And Fox literally got a free kill onto Marzel. He tried to deploy his boombot, but I think the aftershocks were a little too strong for his taste. Still, Velocity fighting on mid with their pistols was expected, and they will still be able to get all these kills. They equalize it to a 3-2. Double peak comes through, and that's going to be the end of MW1. Finally, his killing spree has been put to an end, but if they continue moving to a day, they will be walking into Vibor's trap. Nah, they decide against it. They actually need more information, and that's why they're both splitting up. In fact, Binks is still going to stay over here and camp for Vibor, and that's going to be the end of him. Hey, but 3 kills on an ego. This was great, and we have seen this before from the side of Velocity. Whenever they're on an ego round, they will fight mid. And when I say fight, I don't mean like take a peek, fall back, peek one more.
Yeah.
No. All of them just dump bodies at them.
Absolutely. And I feel like, I mean, if you think about it practically, it certainly is a victory for Team VLT over there. 3 kills. They dropped 3 weapons from the opposite camp, and they're hurt. You can see that. Binks is retaining the Spectre of his, but 2 players, SMX and Strix, they are on light sheet. So certainly isn't a very good buy considering this is the 3rd round. And this can certainly work for Velocity if they can get 1 round back. But once again, Team T69 start things off with this mid take. And this time there is no mid wall, so they can certainly make their way in. The smoke is deployed already. And of course, along with that, there is no player. So Velocity is keeping the mid completely empty. They want to contest them in their own sides. They want to bring them in and welcome them and then possibly give them a nice homecoming.
Yeah, and T69 are playing so carefully. This is very slow from them. Marzel's able to get away with the kill before the flashes come through. But hey, now we're bored with the judge is making things work. The pain shields and the aftershocks will force him out of position, but the judge is still very potent where he is.
I love Amaterasu.
Yeah, he's gonna stop them from going towards the A side, basically funneling them in towards the B Heavens region, where he will be very vulnerable. But it doesn't matter. The judge up close and personal will execute them. It's just down to Fox. He can't do much. Velocity finally starting to hit them back. Great defense over there. And this is such a different vibe from T69 as well. We saw them being a reckless team yesterday with very fast-paced executes, but now they're slowing things down. They're clearing every angle, whether it's with their aftershocks or whether it's with their nanoswarm grenades. They're being extremely careful because they knew that Vibor would be on one of these cheeky weapons. So they check every angle that they can. Unfortunately, Vibor is a little smart and avoids utility. And even Marzel, he was able to get a kill before the Paranoia came through. So really good execution from the side of Velocity as they counter everything that T69 throw at them.
But absolutely. I also love the fact that Velocity, they allow them all that space in mid and then try and pinch them from both sides. You come anywhere and you'll get pincered down. But this time around, Team T69 want to switch things up, and Marzel is going to get all that information with that boombot, and he knows exactly what's happening. On the eco round, I don't think Team T69 can possibly pull off a lot in this one, but yeah, few kills, they can certainly do wonders.
Just bring their economy a little and stop these players on VLT from popping off. It's gonna be a fast cleanup from VLT, but hey, that's okay. This was expected, to be honest, and of course they can do some damage. The flashes are very potent, and MW1 is very, very fine. Needs help, and everyone peeks Fox before he can do anything else. But still, wouldn't you agree that this is a very different Team 69?
Yeah,
they're very slow and methodical. They're not like those, you know, rushing guys. At least not yet. Maybe they'll have some rushes for us later on, but for now, they're very careful.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm not really sure if there are any football fans in the chat or no, but there used to be this phase of Manchester United into Sir Alex Ferguson's time when they used to play so tactically at the start of the game, right? They used to do everything from the drawing board. The executes were perfect. They were very strategical and they were very held together. But once the game used to proceed, they used to let themselves lose and they start taking on free roll. I feel like Team T69 is going to do the same thing. Right now, they're playing from the drawing board. They're playing from their boot camp. They have certain strategies in mind, they have certain movements in mind, and they want to execute those set pieces. But once the game proceeds, I feel like players are going to come back into their original form and possibly do what Team T69 does, that unorthodox play style, something which you can't really predict. Not really being that elegant in terms of checking all the angles and being very careful, but just letting yourself loose on the map is something which we know Team T69 for, and I feel like that phase is going to come. But right now it's all about to start taking things slow and steady, and they've done a good job taking first 2 rounds, I feel.
I'm glad you drew out some football parallels. Recently, you must have heard that Ronaldo joined Manchester United once
Ooh,
again.
yeah.
And, Ronaldo is one of those star players. But while we're speaking about star players, there is one more change. Deathmaker has joined Velocity. Yeah, he won't be
I
playing
love
today.
this.
He won't be playing today, but you know that you want to see him on the team.
Yes.
Imagine MW1 and Deathmaker, both of them on the same team. Two behemoths, two firing legends, finest aimers in the country. And that is a lot of firepower in one
But
team
again,
right now.
Crips, sorry to cut you off right there, but you talked about MW1 and Deathmaker, possibly two players of similar playstyles. Now, if you try and play both of them together, who do you trade off?
Exactly. That's the question right now. VLT have all these talented players. Who do they keep as their sixth? Who's gonna be the playing five? I think it's gonna, change depending on the maps and depending on what they want to pull off. Like in certain maps, Vibhor takes over and Hellfighter sits outside because, depends on who's comfortable with what. And it will keep on changing. But that's the thing. Deathmaker hasn't started playing yet. And I don't think he's going to be playing in Gauntlet just yet. At least not today. But you want to see him. And that phase of VLT is very close by. Now we're going to start off with the 5th round of the game. Scores at 2-2. Economically, both the teams are on an equal footing. It's just that VLT have a little bit extra money in the pockets. In case they lose their weapons, they can rebuy again. But at this point, T69 are starting to creep up towards the B site. They're looking for a pick. And if they try peek out of this smoke, they will be dying. But this smoke's about to fade any moment now. And UFO will be greeted with a double peek. I hope that doesn't happen. Oh my god, this is even deadlier. The Rolling Thunder comes through. UFO throws in the Paranoia to delay them just a little bit. But Strix is on the other side. Trades out. And now they know there's one player towards the back. The Aftershock will force him out and prevent him from crossing. They're finding everyone through the smoke. And this site is falling under the pressure that VLT are not able to keep up with. Trades back and forth.
Wow.
And gets them both. The fault line is perfect. It stuns everyone, doesn't let them fall back. And a clean execute from the side of T69.
This was a breach round. It was that round had Fox written all over it. I mean,
Yeah.
look at this. The Rolling Thunder, it buys them so much space and time for sure. I believe it was UFO who got a kill over there early on. But in spite of that, they couldn't really do anything on the back of it because those flashes and the fault line, they was literally so perfect. And the only defender who was there on the side, he was just overwhelmed with numbers. And Team T69, they did not let reinforcements come through. That was literally perfect. But MW1, look at this though. He takes early contact, but he's been pushed back with the help of the boombot as well as a pain shell. Will he be able to get a kill? That's the question. He gets one, falls back. Right now, it's going to be a 1v1 against Strix. He wins that. 2 kills for him, a 3, bigger 3. The Phantom is singing the songs of death. And he is the Grim Reaper. And Amtarasu with a 2. VLT, a cherry on top of the cake.
Big bad Grim Reaper with a scythe in his hands, decapitating everyone. Not letting anyone sneak through. It's just MW1 and Amaterasu show right there. Tickets free. The matinee show. No, this is not the matinee show. This is the prime time, baby. And it's MW1's time to shine.
I mean, I was also interested, like Team T69, is this when they start their vanilla executes in the side? Because they didn't do much really in that one. They just try to brute force their way in. And that's something which is exciting because as of yet, we have seen them try and, try and explore the mid avenues, try and thin out the defenses and do all of those fancy stuff. But this one was purely a raise showing the Boombot and the Pain Shell, and you just basically try and brute force your way into side. It works when Breach does have those flashes and the ultimates available, but in that round, they didn't have anything, which caused a lot of problems. I mean, MW1 had 3 kills for himself with Amaterasu getting 2. So, yeah, that certainly is a sign to worry about, I feel.
Yeah, the slow and methodical executes had been working for T69, and when they went for a brute force approach, you saw what happened. Let's see if they fall back to their good old, reliable, slow-paced executes. They will leave Binks alone towards the A side to sell a fake, but MW1's already in a position where he can destroy, but no! Strix denies him everything! And now they've got more weapons to work with. The flashes come through. Nobody on the side of BLT can peek, but Amaterasu, once he's got his eyes open,
Nice.
he turns around and shuts everyone. A bait revival, but that is completely okay because he's got the backup of Euphoria as well, and everything works out in their favor.
30 seconds left.
It pays off massive dividends. It's just Binks left. He's got the showstopper that he can use, and he hasn't been detected just yet, but there will be a Amaterasu checking all the angles, all the avenues of approach, and the captain steps up. A triple kill for MW1 last game. This time Amaterasu with a 4K. Both of these players are lining up the kill feed. They've successfully broken the economy of T69 with this one. But T69 have 3 major ultimates available as right now. And surprisingly, those 3 ultimates are there on the side of VLT as well. Fox is 1 point away from Rolling Thunder. Maybe they can take it out on the basis of just their abilities.
It's going to be tough, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw what Fox can pull off with the Rolling Thunder just yet, but with nothing else to work on the back of it, it can be a little difficult. The mid wall, just holding them at bay at this point, where Velocity know exactly what Team T69 will do. They try and explore the mid areas, and they try and hit the sites with all that they've got. They also know that they don't have a lot of weapons to work with. They only have a few sheriffs. So they possibly don't want to go advance too much, but MW1 in a very risky risky position. I'm not really sure what he wants to do this, because they can take those engagements at long distances.
And the spot he was in before was actually much safer, but that's why he doesn't want to stay there, because it will get aftershocked. But if he peeks, he's gonna die too.
Oh no!
No, everyone's dying. The sheriffs are actually paying off so many dividends, and they've cleared up the mid area. And they've got 50 seconds, which means they can do anything they want.
Crips, they also get 2 weapons.
Yeah, the weapons are just like an added bonus.
This can certainly work in, but UFO, the flash comes through, but he knows exactly that all 5 players are starting to funnel in. The spray doesn't really connect. Fox, 1 easy tap to work with. 2v5, here comes the lockdown. 2 players with 1 bullet. Can he possibly pull off a reverse lockdown of his own? Yes, he will do that, but SMX try to stop him. Not as of yet. Will the plant go down? That's the question. I guess they will.
They try to go for the plant, they need to destroy the lockdown, but they won't be able to do so. Marzel defends it, and they're about to get detained. One of them has been detained successfully, and Marzel tries to go for the fake. He killed the guy who has his weapons online, and he just wants to go for the defuse. Eric has his guns out.
I need nothing to
What just happened here, man? He could have had this.
They had this in their pockets. Edit 99, he was detained over there. He doesn't check it, Marzel, poor boy. I mean, this is so unfortunate. But, I mean, we're going to take the positives from that round, honestly. I still feel Team T69, the way they fought that was scintillating. It literally was scintillating.
The sheriff shots, like, so crispy. Chef's kiss right there. And they pick off the 2 most important players. MW1 and Amaterasu were the 2 players who were getting all the kills. And they killed them both. This time, Marzel exacts revenge. And he's now got the showstopper available. You jump, you go inside, but Strix is already inside. He stops the showstopper. Unfortunately, his advance was cut short by Vibor. And Vibor still has his eyes open. They will let them creep in the side with the spike, but they probably won't let them plant. The retake can be possible. from the side of VLT. If they kill Fox right here and now, and he's not checking the right angles, he's about to run into a port, but he sneaks into the site without taking too much damage. Unfortunately, won't be allowed to plant just yet, and he now pulls out the drop guard. But Amaterasu is unaffected.
Ooh. I love the fact that Amaterasu is so calm and composed in situations like this. When a breach pulls out a rolling thunder right in front of you, and you dodge it like that and easily kill him, that shows you're experienced. And for sure, Amaterasu experienced, probably more experienced than anybody of us. He's been playing games even before I was born. So yeah, that's one thing to talk about. But 5-4, this is already a hell of an affair. I feel like the audience is getting what they wanted.
How old are you, Salty? 19, right?
19.
Amaterasu's 30. He's like a decade older than you, and he's been playing games for so long.
Sure. Bings.
You don't want to face him like this. And that's why you can see everyone from VLC, they've just given up the site. They're happy to let them go for the plant. And they'll let them have it. But UFO, inside his own smoke, is now about to backstab them. But there are people looking at him. Won't check the right angle. Decapitated by Fox. More to come through as instead of going from screens, they're trying to wrap around from ramps. This could be a very interesting take on this site, but they need to be prepared. There are very few angles that they will need to check if they go in from this avenue, and so far they're getting everything to work. Where Paul also comes in, and now they're getting pinched from both the sides. They're trapped in the corner, down to a 1v1. It's MW1. Oh no! He can't switch in time, but he still gets the frag. My goodness, MW1, a weapon of mass destruction. He wipes the whole floor.
He's like a nuke for VLT. You just drop MW1 in sight and you know it's destroyed.
I thought for sure MW1 would die. He had to switch weapons at the last moment, and I thought that's it. They lose the round, but I have no idea how he pulls off something like this.
Exactly. But even more than that 1v1 clutch for MW1, I feel like that retake from VLT, it was so perfect. They don't come in from screens. I feel like one player, Vivor, was the one who came in from screens, and the rest of the three players, they funneled in from the ramp area, which was so unexpected for Team T69, and they couldn't just work it through. Fox was overwhelmed over there, all by himself. Look at this right now, MW1 trying to go in a very aggressive position, take this duel against Fox. He's done this previously against Sheriffs, and he knows that he can be taken down easily. He has to be very careful this time around.
A slight gap in the wall which MW1 exploits. Can he exploit any further? Yes, he can. Angle still in his favor, and he's winning everything. The aftershocks don't get him, but Strix does, and what the hell was that? He sure would have been able to get the kill onto MW1. That was fine, but how did he kill Amaterasu? UFO and Mars will bring it back, but the Sheriff has still done more than enough damage. That was actually a decent peeker from side of T69. I did not expect Strix to pop off like that.
Last round
for sure. I mean, it wasn't even like 30-40 seconds when the round got over, and all the frags came in from mid. It was an absolute mid bonanza. And
Sheriff's bonanza. We've seen this so many times. T69 on mid with
I'm
Sheriff,
not even surprised right
good
now.
combination. Exactly. If it wasn't for the paint shells and everything, I think mid would have collapsed and they probably could have gotten to the site. But now as we approach the last round, T69 need this. They've got two ultimates to help them. One of them is a Blade Storm, one of them from the shadows. Edit can probably use it to pinch. But Strix delivers yet again. If he can deliver those shots with the Sheriff, you can certainly expect him to destroy it with the Vandal. And now with mid under their control, they will force Muzzle to move towards the room. They can always fall back from this position. They have done it in the past. Oh my lord, even Amaterasu reveals himself. That dark cover, it actually works in a way where Amaterasu's head is visible, but he can't see Binks. So it kind of turns into a reverse one-way and works against them. And even SMX is starting to pop off now. Everyone's dying on the side of VLT, and T69 are just getting kills. It's just frag fest on mid right now.
Absolutely. And I almost thought that T69, they've done this time and time again. Team VLT possibly would be conditioned to their mid executes and wouldn't really let them enter in the side, but no. They destroy everybody. UFO. I mean, poor guy, he's... Yeah, I know where you're trying to go. I know where you're trying to go. Let's not go there, but... Yeah, I mean, Euphoria has been the one who has been trying to, stay passive and set up the smokes for the team, and he's generally the one who is remaining alive at the end of the round, at the end of the entire mid warfare that's happening between these two teams right now. But I mean, it was interesting that MW1 got taken down and then Amaterasu. I thought that Amaterasu would sit back and fall back and start reinforcing defense. Instead, even he peaked sort of and got his head blown off. So, like, that was what Team T69 wanted. They want to take off those two main players in mid. And after that, it was basically a playground for them.
And it's not even like Amaterasu was speaking very aggressively. Nah.
Mm-hmm.
That dark cover from his own teammate worked against him. And he couldn't see Binks properly. So that was really cheeky from the side of T69. But now, as we move on to the second half, it's Velocity, and they're trying to sneak up everywhere. They're pressing shift all over the place. One going ramp, one still staying outside A main. We have Vibor outside of B, Spike over there as well. And two players working up mid.
Oof.
Marvel delivers, taps away at Fox. Probably should be able to win against Strix as well, but he moves away. And they're both trying to miss their shots, but Strix, how on earth did he able to... How is he able to get the kill onto Vibor? That was unexpected, but hey, no problem because Binks still has his guns, and that is great. And this is perfect. The alarm bot, it's
no.
withdrawal back. And now Amaterasu can sneak past them. If he just let that alarm bot stay over there, Amaterasu would have been trapped. But now that he's in defender spawn, he can easily catch Binks off guard.
Binks is low. Not Binks. I feel like it's Marzen who's low. Look at them creeping right behind them.
Destroys
Still don't
it as
have
soon as it
30
was about to be
seconds
popped.
left.
Oh my lord, this is bad. Amaterasu is just wrapping behind them.
I feel like it might be a bit late. Marcel's low on health. One bullet and he's gonna be dead. Amaterasu needs to hurry. And I think they're aware that Amaterasu might be in the backlines. That's why they're taking the sweet time.
Placing alarm bot.
Now they put up the alarm bot, but Amaterasu isn't coming from that place. He's coming in from the rope room. And if he gets there, it
Last
would be
player
perfect. It's even
standing.
planted for him. They won't expect him to be over here. And the turret won't spot him either. That's great. But now that he's been spotted, he needs to fight this. And there's Binks to help out.
Nice quad key from Binks actually over there. I also love the fact that VLT tried to do something new, which we didn't see as of now. They tried to hit A, they tried to hit mid, they also had their presence in the B side, something which we didn't really see. We have seen those full-blown executes in mid or probably in one side. So they still have that thing, the potential to possibly pull off more rounds than they can right now. But with Spectres all across on Team T69, I don't feel it's going to be this round.
Force buy could be possible, but VLT are disciplined that way. The Sheriffs at the best, and maybe Ghosts. I'm surprised there's no Shorty. That would have been a bit too cheeky.
I mean, Strix can possibly pull that off. We have sometimes seen him do that. And he can absolutely fly with the shorty, but look at this, the Spectre. He can line up two players all by himself, and
One
yes, he
enemy
does.
remaining.
Easy drive-by.
Yeah, Strix just running and gunning them down. Clean round from the side of T69 so far. If they can get the kill onto Euphoria without losing anyone, that would be great. Flawless round, everyone with their weapons online. Only Fox and Binks will have to reinvest in armor, which is fine. The bonus round, still very viable for the side of T69, and given the way they were holding their angles, I think they should be able to hold their ground against the Vandals from VLT as well.
I love this weapon so much, Trips, the Spectre. You can press mouse 1 and W simultaneously. My friends troll me when I do that, but I mean, look at this. It's meta. Strix does it.
Everyone does it.
Everyone does it.
They said that they fixed the run and gun, but did they? Certainly not. Strix says, nah, son, I can still do whatever I want. But now it's time for VLT to be careful. And they know that they are up against a bonus round bye, so they will be wary of these Spectres in close corners. They might even expect some judges. Now, luckily,
I love this.
they haven't chosen those weapons, but given the way they're giving up mid, VLT can actually move in towards the rope room. Now, there is a turret which probably will spot out Euphoria if he climbs up. And Binks is aware of the possibility of mid being leaked. But I think T69 are fine with that. They're completely okay with letting VLT have mid control as long as they can double down on the sites. And Strix has Fox in the form of backup. Flashes can come through if need be. And yep, Strix capitalizes on that, but luckily nobody from VLT is coming in to peek him just yet. This Pain Shell could end things. Strix is extremely low on HP, and that will be the end. Fox once again with the flashes, but Marzel evades. Man advantage starting to move in the favor of T69, even though they don't have the weaponry, but Banks has retrieved the Phantom from A, and that's the weaponry they needed. Everyone else now moving towards B. They will be able to spot out Edit, and at that range he can't win the duels, but Marzel transfers onto Fox, and that was a very snappy aim. Good recovery from VLT as they have finally swung the advantage in their favor.
Spike planted.
But can they convert this into a win?
Wow.
Marzel been taken down. They need to be wary of MW1's position, but they isolate Amato after instead. And MW1, he's now the only one left. Binks knows exactly what's happening, and Binks unfortunately doesn't have the utility nor the health to fight him. He can at least avoid the fight with him by literally jumping across, but he will have to fight him nonetheless, and MW1 finally wins it. This would have been disastrous if MW1 was not a Reyna. If he had any other character, he wouldn't have been able to heal, but VLT take it back. But this was so expensive. They win it, but at what cost? They lose 4 members. They don't have enough money for rifles right now. And it's T69 who have the better weapons.
Absolutely. But at least they got the round, that one. VLT, they had to struggle. The momentum was shifting back and forth. I mean, it was really interesting for me that they didn't really try and go towards A heavens in spite of getting all that control in mid. Instead, they try and hit the B side, but at least they did successfully. This time around as well, I mean, see, for sure, the lack of stage means they will have to concede the mid area, but this way, Amdarasu gets one nice frag, but he's been traded out instantly, a 4v4 right now, but 3 players on the B side. And before trying to go very aggressive on the A side, yeah, he's been shut down right now by Binks. Of course, couldn't really capitalize on his positioning, but right now it's a 3v4. The showstopper comes in, Marcel knows exactly where Fox is, but couldn't really get the kill.
Somehow Fox still lives. And he's being picked by both the directions, but Strix could save him. He transfers the information to him. Trades go back and forth, and Binks displaces Marzel with that satchel. Wins the duel, and it's back to 8-8.
Out of charges.
And
I love
now they
race
have not only won the round, but they also crippled the economy of VLT. They'll probably have to settle for a hero phantom buy on MW1. And they do it because they're desperate. This could be the round that, you know, makes or breaks this game. Both the teams are reeling from the economic losses. Strix and Fox, they don't have enough money to go for full buys. You see, Edit has to concede the heavy shields and pick up the light ones. Strix is just on his Sheriff and maybe even his Blade Storm. So both the teams reeling from economic losses, but it is VLT who have the inferior weaponry. Oh my lord, deleted, but he won't be able to get the other one. MW1 hasn't healed, which means he's 1 HP. Even Marzel is pretty low, hemorrhaging internally. The frags go in their favor, but MW1 caught napping by SMX.
You should run.
I don't think he knows where Amaterasu is, but he's still able to get it. Down to 20 HP though. At this point, Vibor just needs 1 bullet to kill SMX, and unfortunately, Binks is still pretty healthy. And they're not checking for him. They're splitting up, so Vibor can actually isolate these frags and win the duel. He will be able to pick up the Phantom as well. This is exactly what he wanted. And he's going for the big brain moves. If he moves from the defender's spawn towards the A side, that will be the least expected thing that anyone on T69 will ever consider.
No. SMX isn't even expecting this, and he's so low on HP.
remaining.
Easy frag for him, and so much time in the world to plant the spike and get to nice positions.
30 seconds left.
Binks has a lot of responsibility on his shoulder. Just like you mentioned, this is a very crucial round. Here comes the showstopper. He wants to finish this early. He might even do that. 29 HP on Vibor, but one bullet! He destroys the skull of Binks.
Stop in the lab.
Genius. Absolutely genius.
The moment T69 decided to split up, that was the moment they lost the round. Vibor, the fact that he was given so much time and space to work with, he is able to get everything to work for him. He got the Phantom in his hands. He's able to catch them both 1v1. Somehow even survives the showstopper assault from Binks. And then he doesn't use the Phantom, no. He pulls off the Sheriff to crack open his skull and get some style points too.
I mean,
Jesus!
don't do this, Trakes. They're destroying the server right now, but that's... I feel like that's their bread and butter at this point. Q4 starting to move aggressive. Vibor all by himself, holding the B entrance. I feel at this point they just want early contact, and U4 and MW1 do that. U4 even pinches in for one and gets at least one frag for himself, but that's about it. It's a full stop from Team T69. For Team T69 rather. SMX, the last player who still survives. He does have a lockdown, and I expect it to work with a 1v3 clutch. Isn't really impossible because the spike has been left back.
Yeah. If he can kill everyone with the spike. After that disgusting one-tap from Strix at the start of the round, I think VLT did well to recover themselves. Could have been a very disastrous round, but this time, VLT know the trick to success. They need to pull something out of T69's book. They need to be the ones that stick together. And as long as they do that, everything will work for them. The mid plus B crunch was successful. The only problem that they've been facing on B Heavens is Fox, and he's been very accurate with the flashes so far. He's been able to time it right to set up Strix for success. And that's why they send in the plays from B main to catch Fox off guard, and he was caught napping with the flash in his hand. This time VLT once again playing very passively. Binks on a one-and-done angle of sorts. And that's all he needs. SMX spots them to crossing, and Binks tries to get that kill, but they both will be taken down. And that's it. A side given up.
It's also going to be difficult because Strix has the AWP on him. Gets one arm thrust. That's a main man taken out. Fox with a flash. Accurate, but MW1 is going to shut him down. Doesn't even matter. Strix and Edit. 2 players against 4. It's going to be difficult. For sure, Strix has the capability to turn things around, but will he check the right angle? Not really. UFO shuts him down. That's only a single player. Edit 99 who still survives, and I guess he's gonna save his weapon for later. But this is when slowly VLT start stretching their legs and start making their presence felt in this map. As of yet, we have seen a very closed combat grips. We have seen Team T69 as well as VLT going head-to-head, but VLT, once they got that round out of Vibor's brilliance, they're starting to let themselves lose, and they're starting to win all those duels and starting to win all those rounds for themselves.
Yeah, the 50 round from Vibor, the clutch, that was the round that destroyed the economic momentum for T69. And keep this in mind, both the teams have been pulling off eco wins against each other. But this late in the game, if you lose that one crucial thrifty round, you will be crippled for multiple rounds, and that's what lets VLT get to 11. Might even get map point with this one. And obviously T69 don't want that, so that's why they're being very desperate right now. They're throwing in everything they have. Phantoms, Vandals, and if you can't afford that, then Guardians, Inspectors it is. And it's a full stack towards the B side. It's gonna be a 5-man rush.
I love this.
Satchel in. Nanoswarm will cover SMX, but he's still very potent and capable. Finally, he will be put to rest. Nobody on Heaven can stop them. A wall is available as well to help them cross, and Marzel's back online. Man advantage secured, but the Rolling Thunder can certainly change things. Everyone's blown up. But they don't check the angles, and MW1, how on earth is he still alive? He dismissed back to safety. Finally, Edit from above will stop him, but Marzel, because he died, he has his ultimate online, and now the paranoia. It probably can catch everyone off guard. Edit almost lined them up, but Euphoria stops him. He's the better omen, and it's map point for VLT.
Match point.
Ooh, that was a heavy round. That was a very high investment round. I love the fact that it was SMX who actually got that frag with the Guardian, but in spite of all those high efforts, he was just resurrected, and SMX was like, bruh.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some really nutty frags this time. SMX with that Guardian one-tap.
MW1.
But what's even better, MW1 stays alive, gets a kill, and then he dismisses. By the time he runs out of the whole stun, he's back online. Luckily, Edit was able to kill him in time, but this time, no more Guardian one-taps for you.
Lockdown invested. Fox being pushed back. MW1 again, another dig. This man does it like it's no business. Pings being completely shut down over there. They have all the space in the world. Look how much further VLT is progressing. They do have SMX right in front of them. A 2v1 engagement. SMX is not going to win those. Edit finds Marzel not looking in the right direction. Bings even adds up on his own. 2v3 right now. Anything can happen. But this is the last chance. Team T69. And I feel that's where the hope dies. Or is it? Can Edit 99 pull off
Blinding.
an impossible?
He's certainly starting to make me believe. He's got all his utility as well. He can use the shadow steps just to get everything. But he spots out Report's head. Can't
Attackers
survive the
win.
peak. That is what they needed. VLT, they struggle a little bit in the first half, and T69 almost make it look like they will win. But one thrifty round that was clutched by Vibor, that's what destroys the economy of T69, and that enables VLT to steamroll out of control. They crack their armor at the worst time possible, hit them in the iron's hot, and VLT, they are the hotter team now. They've got the first map in their bag, and this was T69's pick. Now that we're moving on to Haven, VLT will be certainly a lot more comfortable.
Absolutely. I mean, you remember Aggressive talking about Vibor being the clutch master? Certainly is. He is trained
Certainly.
by the best in the business. And that one round, that one Sheriff one tap was so influential. And in fact, T69 couldn't even manage to win one round after that. It was 8-8, and
Yeah.
then suddenly it's 13-8. Like, it was a full stop to their aggression. But again, I felt like T69, they played well in the first half of the game. They certainly were in I don't think they were in lead, but for sure they were doing a good job catching up to VLT every single time. And the way Strix was popping off, it doesn't really seem like they're gonna be too far away in Haven as well. We'll have a look at the match highlights and decide what's really cooking under the pan for both these two teams.
So it was a good start for T69. They had a decent amount of momentum. Their brute force executes were working, but there's a little different flavor to them. They don't go for these executes right at the start of the round. They take their sweet time, they set everything up, and when the time is right, they waltz into the site. But they can't pull it off every time. There were some rounds where they were shut down by the judges, some rounds where MW1 was able to come in clutch. And that happened at the ace side. I think the highlight for that will come up right now. No, it was in the round after this. No problem. But yeah, these rounds from the side of T69, they were good enough at the start, but eventually VLT was able to recover.
Hmm.
What was great, what was working in favor of T69 is these stuns from the breach, and Fox was able to set up not just himself, but a lot of his other teammates as well for success. Yeah, this is the round that MW1 was able to shut them. So far, T69 was able to win 3 rounds in a row because of very calculated executes. But then they decided to go back to their brute force roots, and MW1 with a triple kill shuts them down. Amaterasu had a double kill in that round, but this one, he's able to pull off a 4K. So on the basis of individual heroics, VLT were able to stop the T69 momentum in the first few rounds of the first half. But after that, it was mostly a closely contested game.
Yep, I absolutely love their trade game actually. And in spite of all the team VLT pulled off, I feel like Team T69 did a very good job in trying to hold them back. This was very comical round. I didn't expect this. Marzel, a beautiful shot on the Strix, but what did you do, Mars? And he didn't even check Edit 99 over there. He knew there was one guy who was DT. He probably thought that he was somewhere in B main area, but now he was right behind him. And even Marzel was shut down mid-air by Strix. And this just goes to show how good of a player Strix was in this game. It's not just Strix. I feel like even Fox had a very, very decent game. And both the two different agents, the Breach and the Sage for the respective teams, they were very influential. But I felt like Fox allowed his team a little more room than Amaterasu did.
Yeah, Amaterasu was stepping up himself, whereas Fox was more
Hmm.
like a team player. But hey, Amaterasu and MW1 had some really good moments. Both of them were able to kill some very important impact frags, and I think that's one of the major reasons why VLT was able to take this map. And of course, that massive clutch by Vibor, which crippled the T69 economy and allowed VLT to go on an unstoppable path to victory. But that was just the first game, ladies and gentlemen. Haven is right around the corner. But before we get into Haven, we're going to go on a tiny break. These players need some time to reset their mental state. We need some time to have some water. And we're going to be seeing you on the other side of the short break. Don't go anywhere. You guys are watching the TEC Esports Gauntlet Season 2, powered by WD Black, AMD Ryzen Radeon, and LG Ultragear. Hey guys, welcome back to LG Ultragear presents TEC Gauntlet Season 2, powered by WB Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon. To get yourself energized, scan this QR code to get your Red Bull cans. Now, we all need some energy because we need to support our favorite teams. It's VLT versus T69, and VLT already have picked up the first map. They won Split, and now we're moving on to Haven.
Yeah, absolutely. And Crips, I mean, the best part about it is we didn't really expect Split going to VLT. We thought that it's going to be Team T69. In fact, all of our opinions were the same, I feel like. I said that it's going to be Team T69. Even Aggressive said that. But now that VLT have the first map in their bag, Haven is going to be a real tough nut to crack for Team T69 because, of course, we know for a fact that Velocity, they know every inch and corner of Haven. And for sure, they have a lot of strats to use those knowledge as well. And when you actually compare that against a momentum heavy team like Team T69, it gets really, really hard for us to believe that it can be Team T69. But of course, we have seen miracles, and we might see miracles even in the next screen, which is going to be the agent selection screen, ladies and gentlemen. We can find more information to talk about there.
I don't know about miracles, but I have seen curses. Just this afternoon, when we were casting the previous game, we saw that every time a team is able to win someone else's map pick, this game goes to map number 3. Now, this
Oh.
curse has been coming true in Gauntlet a bit too often. Let's see if it comes true again. VLT obviously going in their comfort map, but hey, I think that Euphoria is able to fit in pretty well as he's picked up the Omen once again. Amaterasu on Phoenix this time around. Okay. A
Okay.
lot more aggressive choice. MW1 as expected on Jet. Vibhor this time playing Sova instead of Ace. Of course, the lack of Ace is definitely a problem. But hey, Vibhor playing an Initiator while he's usually the Sentinel guy? Interesting choice. Marzel is the one to pick up the Killjoy, so he's going to be in his comfort zone. Only Vibhor is the one who is, having an unorthodox agent for the side of T69. SMX as expected on Sova. Edit as expected on Omen. Fox on the Cypher.
Select your agent.
Binks and Strix will probably go for duelists.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
Phoenix and
exactly what
Jet.
happens.
It's pretty much a similar lineup apart from the sci-fi and the Cajun. It is
Mhm.
definitely well contested. But talking about the composition in entirety, I feel like for sure there are sentinels on paper, but this is a very aggressive lineup. I mean, you have two duelists, you have a controller who is about to give you a lot of space to work with, you have an initiator who can give you information inside the space. So I feel like the entire map, or rather the entire game, is going to be very much oriented on the attacking side of things. So you want to get more rounds in your attacking side more than in defense.
Yeah, you want to get rounds no matter which side you're playing, and I think that's exactly what's going to be the win condition of these teams. T69 usually do excel in the attacking side, but we'll see how they fare up against this new VLT. Let's jump into the game, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to go live with Haven. We have T69 starting on defense, Velocity starting on attack, and it's going to be a bonanza. T69 need to win this one if they want to push this game to map number 3, and VLT looking to close this out 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like VLT is better posed to close this out 2-0 because, of course, they did win in the map pick of the opposition. But I really want to see how T69 can start things off. I mean, we know for a fact that if momentum is heavy on their side, they can really turn things around. And right off the bat, we can see that they are certainly trying to make their presence felt in mid. They did the same thing in the map split as well, so it doesn't really surprise me as of yet. Will they brute force their way into B side? That's the question. They already do.
Oh god. Getting all the frags too. They're going over and beyond of what's required and trying to pick up fights towards A-Link. Death avoided by now. But I think Binks is about to get triple peaked, and yeah, that's exactly what happened. Unfortunately, really couldn't do much, and it is being
One
pressured by
enemy remaining.
MW1. This usually is a cookie cutter round for BLT.
Foolish.
Their strat towards the B side usually is to get the spike plant as quickly as possible and then fall back towards the bottom of mid so that they can hold on to those plants.
One enemy
But instead of
remaining.
doing that, they decided to pick up fight, and they're going in one by one. This is boiled down to a 1v1. If Fox had a cyber cage right now, he probably would have been able to win the round too. But their board will stop it before it's too late.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, VLT just surviving over there, but love the fact that they do something different. I mean, love the fact that they try and brute force their way into the B side and get so many frags easily.
Yeah, the frags did go in the favor of VLT eventually, but you consider this, they were giving up 1v1s, and they almost let Fox clutch this one out. Yeah, sure, the time was never in his favor, he wouldn't have been able to win the round, but if these mistakes are repeated in a more high-stakes round, VLT could be easily punished, and Strix, nice dinks over there. Unfortunately, can't secure the kill, and they push through the Molotovs. Frags exchange back and forth, NW1's being taken off. But this is a repeat of the previous round, and this time, instead of fighting towards the site,
Spike down
wait.
mid.
Oh,
What did I just see? Did Amaterasu just burn Euphoria? This is a massive blunder.
Turret
And
destroyed.
so many players from the side of T69 are about to wrap around from behind. SMX has already been spotted towards mid-window. Fox could have gotten a kill onto Garage, but he's already been taken down. So Amaterasu now will finally pick up for what he's lost. But SMX still on the backstab, still unchecked. It's gonna fall down to Edit. He's about to get
This
double
is-
peeked,
One enemy
but
remaining.
they've peeked one by one, letting him pick up one frag. And
Oh
once
my-
again, it's down to a 1v1. All these rounds are just so unnecessarily expensive.
yeah. But SMX couldn't really win that one. A 4K for Amaterasu. He's been doing this time and time again right now. But just like you mentioned, this is a very expensive round and shouldn't really have been. They had a clear weaponry advantage with the Spectres. They even got the first frags. They even got the trades working in their favor, but just they couldn't really hold on to the formation of Team T69. Their trade game was perfect. I also love the fact that SMX really did a good job over there on the back lines.
Even Fox tried to come in for a little surprise angle. He tried to peek out of Garage. Unfortunately, wasn't very successful, but VLT have made mistakes in both these rounds. They overextended last time. This time, Euphoria got burnt by Amaterasu's Molotov. I don't even know how. I don't want to find out. But yeah, if these things keep on happening, T69 will find a way to punish them. And because they lost all these guns in the previous round, VLT now don't have a better buy. T69 have all the guns, but they don't have armor on Strix. SMX on light shields, Fox on light shields as well. But a similar situation is there in the VLT camp as well. But someone on Spectre, someone on light shield. And this is going to be one of those rounds that determine which team takes the lead in the first half. Because this can definitely shape up the whole half.
Running back comes through, Banks. Oh! So many frags. 2 for 2. Strix still trying to make his way from Garage. He wouldn't really be checked, or will he? The spike certainly will go down.
Spike
3v3.
planted.
Can work in the favor. A retake can come through if SMX can possibly get a few kills. Nice shock dart! Pitch perfect. This can certainly set up Team T69 for success. A flash.
One enemy remaining.
Oh,
All peeking him.
no.
SMX once again left in a 1v2. He has been fairly successful, doing a lot of damage, but can he clutch it out? Can he wrap it up? Not really this time. VLT have been able to win all these rounds. No matter when they have the disadvantage or they don't have it, it's just boiled down to all these clutch situations. 1v1s, 2v1s, 2v2s. VLT are winning these rounds, but by a very close margin. At least they're able to win the key round, which will force the side of T69 to go back down to eco weapons. Relegated to these smaller pistols, they shouldn't be able to do too much damage, but as history repeats itself, T69 are still very potent with their sheriffs. Now that
Yeah.
VLT have the decisive advantage, they want to not take any risks and go in for a standard pizza on the platter A execute. Let's see if these crossfire will work. The paranoia doesn't blind anyone, and both these players still have their eyes open, but because the jet dashed across, Edit has to focus on it, and he can't help out his poor teammate. At least they're able to get one kill, so it's not all lost. But for the time being, Binks is looking to make some aggressive plays. Can't check the angle, but VLT avoid major losses. All these rounds have been boiling down to 1v1s and 2v1s, but this is the first time VLT are able to keep all 4 players alive. So that's great, because this finally lets them build up some economic momentum. And let's be honest, what's the use of all these rounds if you don't have the economy to work with?
You kind of win because of rounds.
I know, but you need to win with a big margin. You need to win with all your players alive, so that in case you ever lose later on, you still have backup money. And backup money is available for VLT aplenty.
Yeah, they absolutely have a bang, but Strix has an AWP. So yeah, anything can work. But 4-0, this certainly is a bad start for Team T69 already. You can see Team VLT starting to get information out of the Seawars area. Edit will be pushed back. Can't really do much over there, but Strix is in position with his AWP. That's one good thing. The lockdown has been placed as well. SMX trying to go aggressive, but that's what Marcel wanted. 2 for 1. Strix falls back, and they need to let them have the side for themselves. VLT, so much space acquired. A 4v3 right now. They can certainly play around and get to post-plant positions comfortably.
Yeah, and they've got the man advantage too. The only thing that could probably stop them is Strix if he's able to get a couple of shots from heaven. But these Molotovs will definitely boil him up and also outside, forcing him to fight. Luckily, the flame wall has been put up in time to cover his escape. Flashes and cyber cages come through. This will break apart the crossfire, but Amaterasu doesn't need the crossfire. He can still make this one work. And there's a tiny gap that they can use. Strix popping off on the verge of clutching out this round, and they're boiled into a 1v2. Strix needs to cover his teammate, and he will! First down in the favor on T69. And the half defuse has been done already, so they will definitely be able to win this.
Oh my lord, Strix. This is not allowed. I think this is not allowed. This is mass murder by this man. I almost thought that the AWP would... I mean, it's gonna be on their minds that they had to save so much to get this AWP online. And I probably thought that once they had the site, once the lockdown was placed, they're going to save it. They're going to try and possibly keep the AWP for later. But no, Strix just runs havoc with it. A 4k for him. I guess it was a 3k for him over in that round. But still, VLT, they, just like you mentioned, they have a bank for themselves. And they can certainly use it right now. They do have good buys. But Strix still possesses that big bad rocket launcher. Binks, wonderful flash. Perfect. But gets traded out. Amaterasu gets 2 of his own. He also has a running back as well. This man has been doing absolutely phenomenal in this map. But look at Marcel. He's creeped up his way from mid as well. And no one has checked it. Strix goes down. Even 89 not really called out. A bit too early. A 1-for-1 trade. But 2v3, it's going to be difficult. Edit has been hurt. And he will be taken down easily. MW1 escapes. But SMX will try and chase him out. That's it.
Yeah, he chased him out only to just eat a bullet in the head from him. But a very clean round from VLT, and this was one of the more simpler rounds. A standard C execute. And VLT, they have realized that they don't need anything too complicated to win these games. You see, in the previous round, they went for a regular A push. It worked for them. Yeah, sure, the retake was denied by Strix, but this time, a C push, it gives them what they want. And then the only thing they need to change is probably send Marcel in a little bit of a lurk situation, as when he moves on from the B side towards the C link, he's able to catch the rotators off guard. So they have the spear in the form of Amaterasu picking up all these frags, and then Marcel covering for his teammates. So many smokes, but Strix is able to prove who's the better jet, sling around the cloud burst. But the moment he jumps up, he's greeted by 2 people at the same time. Not too much that he could have done. Hey, VLT, this is again one of those rounds where they will be able to go with the spike plant, and Marcel's covering the backstab. And this time he won't be going anywhere, but they need to toss this Hunter's Fury. This could result in a couple of deaths.
Wow.
Maybe more than what was expected, and all of a sudden this is falling apart from them. Even Binks is able to step up with just a classic whistle. Euphoria on 1 HP. How will they stop this? And Marcel can only delay the defuse with the nano swarms, but he won't be able to stop them. There's a dark cover and a cyber cage thrown in his direction, so no line of sight. He can spray and pray, but I don't think the gods will answer to him.
God, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? VLT got a little carried away. They thought that, oh, they don't really have buys on them. They're just going to be with classics and sheriffs, and They tried to pull off their vanilla executes, which they do more often than not. They've done this in Split as well. They've done this in this map. And sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't really work. I mean, I love that execute when Marzel was on the back lines and, you know, try to creep up through B. He was the one who hurt Team T69 the most. But this time around, there was no backstab. There was no one in the back lines. It was just a straight up execute. And I feel like this time around as well, it's going to be something of the same thing. A Hunter's Fury comes in very early on, tries to clear out those default angles. Amaterasu just running in and picking heads. Bings has been completely shut down. The C side has been conceded, and MW1 is pushing even further. He wants to get even more real estate to his name. Shock dart comes through, but no default plant.
They've got this area under lock and key. VLT have been pushing the C side for the last 3 rounds, and it's worked for them every time so far. This time, though, there is Marzel on the backstab. He's coming in from Garage. Probably should be able to catch SMX off guard, and then some more. At this point, they can only move from the defender spawn area, which is what Edit and Strix are doing. But Edit is able to deal with Marzel, not with anyone else. That is it. He throws himself in at the best time possible and catches the side of T69, preparing for the retake. And they can't ever check for him. This has happened 2 times in a row now, where Marzel's backstab was successful. But 3 times in a row, VLT have hit the C site. And at this point, you will be forced to make some changes. And that's why they've put Strix with the operator on the C site now. But unfortunately for him, this is not where VLT will be hitting this time around, as a spike is still all the way in mid. It's not been picked up as well. They will try to play for defaults over here. C-Rush 4 times in a row. I'm sorry, 3 times in a row, and then a default. This change of pace will certainly catch a couple of people from T69 off guard. If they decide to hunt for information, VLT will be more than happy to welcome them in their crosshairs.
Yeah. I mean, a pretty expensive orb on the hands of Strix. Look at this. 2 guys on Spectres and full shields, and Strix all by himself with the orb. So a lot of responsibilities, but more than that, I feel like it's certainly a very expensive buy considering the economic situation. Edit has been pushed back, but VLT hasn't pushed on the back of that drone, so they still have time to work with.
I think they only just want to clear out these areas so that they can use the lockdown. They've got it available for a few rounds now, and they're now starting to creep up towards A. But hey, the lockdown isn't going anywhere towards A. In fact, Marcel's going to be lurking. And there is a gap in the tripwire on B that he can exploit. Meanwhile, they try to defend this, but to no avail. Everyone will be caught off guard.
Oh no.
Catch him. Very well played by Marzel. He's been successfully able to sneak in from the B side almost every time. And if not B, he uses it as a garage push. His teammates, they go towards the extremities of the map, be it towards C or be it towards A, and they leave Marzel on mid as the perfect lurk. Strix now, 69 HP, nice, but can't do much. He's living up to his team's name, but unfortunately he can't do anything other than just save. And Marzel won't even let him do that. That's rough.
That was expensive. That was really, really expensive on Team T69, honestly, because they wanted to get the op on Strix because Strix was really doing good with it. But yeah, that round just fell apart, and now even the economy just crashes. You know what else is gonna crash? My economy, if I buy the Z collection.
Why do you want to buy the Z collection?
It,
I don't like it.
Wait,
the
what?
finisher is nice.
Wait,
the finisher
what?
is nice. Everything else
Guys,
is trash.
I want a Reddit thread. End cribs. End cribs.
Sorry, Reaver Vandal Supremacy. Either way, I don't care about skins. I care about this game more. And you see 3 very important ultimates on the side of VLT. From the shadows, and the recon out is perfect. MW1 doesn't even need the knives to get that one. Lockdown available for the last 3 rounds now. I wonder when they'll use it. The other jet also popping off, and this time Amaterasu has been taken off. Strix almost got him, and he confirms the kill. Wonderful stuff as he's able to pick up 2 very important frags. Both the duelists are dead, and the Marzel shot. Oh, that is disgusting, son. Strix is sending them all down to hell, and there's no redemption, no salvation for their souls. As now the side of VLT have no choice but to go in for this Hail Mary C push. And Fox is about to play cheekily. He should be able to catch Euphoria off guard, firing into a garage. And a second one, slapping Wibor in the face. Eco frags by T69, and they walk away with 3 Vandals. All they need is a Marshal and a Sheriff. Minimal investment, maximum returns.
It's so crazy that out of the 3 rounds they won, 2 rounds are equal or thrifty victories. And it's nuts actually. These guys, for sure they play good with heavy weapons, but something is different with them when they are playing with I don't know, sheriffs and marshals and whatnot. Look at Strix, look at Fox. They're so calm and composed. With Vandals, it doesn't really seem that much, but again, VLT back on an A execute. Not a lot of defense though, but the Cypher has a very nice fortress setup. Running back has been invested as well, and they just want to clear out those corners.
They will probably let them have the site. Bye-bye, Euphoria. No more space for you in heaven. The lockdown allows them to take the site. Spike has been transported over. They will go for the plant. It's a 5v5 retake though. But consider this. There is a running back available on Binks. They also have From the Shadows on end. So
Yeah.
you can try to pinch them from the other side. But it seems like they will just wait for some information. Now that they find someone underneath, Binks doesn't care. He's tanking all the nanoswarm damage and he tries to get the kill on the end of the one, sorry, but he won't be successful. 3 frags come through. They have locked out the short and long areas with smokes, and now the only people left in this side will have to fight by themselves, and they're more than capable of fighting. And SMW1 is picking up all the kills. SMX and Fox, they now try to chime in too, but Euphoria, now trapped all by himself, needs to peek, but he will be have to... no. He won't be able to do anything. It's just Edit who takes him down. And a very clean retake from the side of T69.
Last round before the switch.
That's all fine. The retake was so perfect, but I just saw MW1 on the heaven, flashed 3 people at his face. He deploys a smoke, dashes out to safety, get sprays on 2 guys. This man is insane.
Exactly. MW1 should have had no business surviving that one. He should have been dead to rights. His location was revealed by the drone. There's a fearless Binks on death protection coming towards him. More people to trade. But somehow, despite all the utility being rained down on him, he's able to take down 2 people, which is great. If he can stay calm under pressure situations like this, it is perfect. This time though, he tries to go for the updraft sneaky push on A long, doesn't find anyone. But VLT, as they approach the last round of this half, they need to be super careful. T69 have 3 ultimates.
Oh
One
no.
of them can reveal everyone's position, but they are about to catch it off guard. He recovers. Marcel's destroyed. And with this, they will have no post-plant nanoswarms, which is already starting to look a little difficult. Instead of Marcel going towards B, it's NW1, but he's able to demolish SMX, just threads through his body. And Binks with the perfect flash somehow doesn't kill him. Amaterasu, they recover. T69 are actually starting to take casualties, and it's becoming a little expensive for them now. But still, the 3 players alive at least have their ultimates available. So 1 more kill and they should be able to take off the hat and find out exactly where VLT are. They also have Edit available. So if they go for the post plant on A, Edit should be able to lock out both long and short,
30 seconds
allowing them to
left.
isolate frags better. From the shadows committed. Where does he go? He goes towards B. Doesn't spot anyone. He also missed the fact that MW1 was in the B side who can catch people rotating, but they're all coming in from defensive spawn, so yeah, MW1's rotations won't be of much use. But yeah, the retake's nearly impossible.
1 enemy
Look at
remaining.
the HP on Edit. Yeah, he's almost dead. Has a foot in the grave, and Strix is also taken care of. Good lead by VLT so far.
Yep. But that was just on the attacking side, right? And we talked about how the agent composition allows you to be very dynamic on the attacking side. On the defense side, I want to see how the VAT defense looks like. I wouldn't be surprised if MW1 picks up the op, much like Strix did, but that's just one of the key aspects in their defense. Apart from that, they do have a KJ, but most of it is going to be based on intel. I feel like Amaterasu might push up a little too much to try and gather some intel out of maybe Garage or something, and then fall back and regroup with his teammates. So most of the defense is going to be intel based, but I want to see what T69 attacks looks like, because this is something you want to see. This is something that unorthodox playstyle allows you to be. The agent composition also does the same thing. Recon comes in, Strix takes a dig, falls back, 13 HP. I love the sound. I love the sound when you ding somebody.
Of course you do. But now both the Jets are low on health. Marzel wants to go on a redemption mission. He's able to catch Fox and falls back to safety as well. Nobody to chase him, especially with the nanoswarms covering his retreat. Man advantage secured, information gathered, and now they can all take a chill pill.
Team
It's-
T69. They're
Yeah, they're
even
going for a
pushing
split.
first.
They're trying to approach a long. Okay, they were going for a split, but as soon as I say that, the two remaining players, they now start to move towards a shot. Binks alone on long. There's not too much time left, but this recon doesn't discover anyone. It's been destroyed, but they don't know where Binks is. They can only imagine that there would be someone in a lobby. If MW1 goes a little too ahead, he will be caught off guard. And now they're just both staring at each other from across this X-ray. They don't even know the other player's on the other side, but will he check? Yes, he will. And Binks, the healthier player, should be able to get this kill. But he's running with a knife first into Vibor's arms, and he will obviously greet him with a sweet embrace of death.
Interesting, actually, that team T69, they invest so much utility on the B side to get information, but trades happening here. Amaterasu
Spike down A.
sprays down Edit 99 over there. SMX just running, ring of roses. Amaterasu, another mouse one for him. But, I mean, the point I was making is that Team T69, they use the drone and they use manpower to get some information out of the B side. But as soon as Binks fell down, they're trying to hit the A side, which kind of was surprising to me. But then again, VLT's defense, it just looks so calm and composed. You look at MW1, yeah, for sure, he had the role of trying to, you know, go into the enemy territory, trying to go in enemy backlines and hurt them. He couldn't do that. But you look at someone like Bevor, and he was so calm over there. Easy trades for him. And as soon as he got the frag, they knew that they're going to hit the A side. Team T69 is going to hit the A side, and reinforcements came in as well.
They came in on time too.
Yeah?
That's the best part. They're not just rotating in all the right directions, they're doing it at the right time too. The judge
Oh my.
from Euphoria, they should definitely discourage them from coming towards the C site, but it's actually VLT who are
Wow.
pushing in. MW1, he has the tendency to push up A long whenever he gets the chance, so I think T69 was aware about that. They wanted to stop him. And now that they've sent him back, they will now try to regroup and hopefully take down this little flying jet. But they're not all going in together. It's Fox and Edit to lead the charge, everyone else to follow later. Binks is playing as a lurker. But instead of going towards Garage or towards the B-side, he will now join his teammates later on. Strix was still tagged. And that's how he can take down through the smoke. And MW1's just lining up the kill feed. One of these playdowns for him all day long. And Amaterasu denying the opportunity of what could have been an ace. Before also sealing the other ones. It's a easy cleanup. And VLT, make it clean. They also haven't revealed the fact that there is a judge available on them. So now, T69, if they use their vandals to approach the C side, they will be greeted with a nasty surprise. They keep the best weapons and the most shameful weapons to themselves. They keep it a secret and then they will reveal it when the time is right.
Oh, it certainly isn't shameful. I do it in my ranked games, bro. I'm like... But nonetheless, it doesn't make sense to me that MW1 was at 46 HP. He was dancing in the A-long corridor, wanted them to just come and close up, and he sprays down 3 players just like it was nothing. Team VLT, the way they are cleaning up Team T69, it looks like it's easy for them. It certainly is. But Fox replies. He gets one, establishes the man advantage, but through the smoke, Strix gets Marlin as well. Vibor on the back lines. SMX knows that exactly. He probably was expecting MW1, but MW1, just beside the smoke, gets another one.
Last player standing.
All by himself. The shock dart comes through as well, and being pushed further. SMX just too strong over there. Team T69 get their 5th round on board, but VLT still very strong in terms of economy as well as in terms of their round advantage. Still training by 5 rounds. Team T69, they need to string such good attacking rounds together because this is their opportunity right now, Grips.
Yeah, they are usually the team that is able to group up together and hit a side like a wrecking ball. Their executes are mostly flawless, but so far, they've been trying a new strategy. They've been trying to just stay passive and wait for the picks of VLT, which have worked for them so far. They were able to catch Vibor on the backstab, and they were able to catch him before anything could happen. And this time, Amaterasu was able to punish I'm sorry, Amaterasu got punished by Strix. They even saw MW1 sneak in towards that position on the window because he got tagged by the Nanoswarm. So now they know exactly what's happening. And the aggressive positioning from Euphoria will also be dealt with. So now that they've used the Hunter's Fury, they recognize that there are two people on the C side. Will they decide to go there? Nope, they are falling back. But again, they know that VLT will push and they want to kill them while they push, but Vibor is able to get away with murder. And that's the T69 that we are looking at today. It's a new T69. They wait for VLT's aggression.
Yeah.
They play default. Imagine T69 on default. We haven't seen them do this so far, but they are a new reinvented team, and I like this tactical approach from them. But when they decide to hit you, they hit you like a truck, and these executes are perfect, except for the fact that
Spike
MW1
down
went
A.
and checked.
I got the spike.
Edit kills him before it's too late, but hey, the advantage that they had has now been negated, and it's 2v2. Very possible for the side of VLT, and he's able to catch Strix while he's falling back.
I mean, I'm not really sure if Edit can possibly do much because UFO is just gonna run havoc. He gets taken down by Vibor. Through the smoke gets Edit, and VLT inch closer to victory. They're almost very, very close for a 2-0 sweep, but T69, they still have that breathing room to make a miraculous comeback happen. I really want to see that because I feel the attack has been good so far. It's been just MW1 who has been a very tough nut to crack for Team VLT.
Yeah, not just him. Even the captain Amaterasu is stepping up. Both of them sitting on 20 frags each. And they're leading by example. MW1 has his ultimate ready as well. The Blade Storm should be popped in case he decides to not go for a buy. And he's only got a frenzy, so yes, he will pull it off. And Vibor almost saw his life flash before his eyes as multiple people peeking at the same time, and somehow he avoids that, so he will fall back for now. But I think Team VLT have recognized the fact that they are holding default, and that's why this Hunter's Fury will be thrown down. And Binks gets caught, more people revealed. They recognize that T69 will be basically playing the mid windows. But UFO, he's been taken down as he tries to approach C long. Yeah, the push was a little too early. But hey, they only lose the judge player. At least they don't give away a free Vandal to the side of T69. But Amaterasu now cracking open garage. That's what they needed. Edit is able to teleport into the C side only to find out it's empty. So the spike run should be possible, but take a look at the positioning of Fox. He could be the difference maker in this team if he lurks properly.
I feel Amaterasu might recognize that there's a player on the back lines. Vibor has only a shock dart remaining, so not a lot of information, but Amaterasu certainly has the running back available. Flashes out. Discovers Edit 99 and shuts him down as well. Also finds where Strix is, and they know exactly what's happening. A post-one position, which isn't really that comfortable. And also with the shock dart, it's going to be a lot of damage. Strix gets 11 HP to work with, but there's no time. The spike has been defused, and there he goes. A 3k for Amaterasu. But more so, the fact that he got so much information, he found Edit 99 on the back side. He also discovered where Strix was. It was his round for it. I mean, also Fox couldn't really do much in that round. And VLT just cruising to victory right now, Crips, aren't they?
Yeah, they're in cruise control. They can almost taste victory right here. They want to finish this game up so that they can go have dinner. But consider this. T69 aren't gonna back down. Binks has his run it back available. Once again, you have Strix on the Blade Storm. Both these ultimates definitely can do quite a lot of damage, and he's gonna commit it towards the B side. Running all the way in, he will spot up only the turret, but nobody fights him. Not a single person reveals himself, and Binks' ultimate won't find them anything. At least they're able to clear out the B side so that they can go for the plant. But hey, will the retake be easy? I don't think so. Mars luckily doesn't have his lock-on available, and that's the danger man taken out, but MW1 dashes right past them. The paranoia also doesn't help, as Edit is able to find some in the smoke, but this man advantage is not really available for the side of T69 anymore, and Amaterasu is going above and beyond of what's required. All the frags by the two top fraggers. Amaterasu and MW1 leading by example, 20 frags each. More than just that, they're able to spearhead their way to victory. great win by Team VLT over here. Even though they did not have their original lineup, even though they were playing with a stand-in, they do not struggle. They do not falter.
Absolutely. I felt like individually, Amaterasu and MW1 was so much better. You look at the usage of utility. I'm not even talking about the mechanical frags and everything. You look at the usage of utility, the flashes and the running backs. You see Amaterasu does it so much better than Bings. I mean, Bings' run back in the last round was a very expensive turret destroyer, practically. Couldn't really get information over there. Couldn't really get any players on the back of it. But yeah, that's about it. I felt like VLT were just so much superior in every single sense. I mean, I wouldn't really say that if I look at the first half of the split game, but yeah, after that, it's been a cruise show for them.
Yeah, let's take a look at the highlights because these highlights are very different from the ones we saw in Split. At least Split was well contested by T69. Even the first few rounds of this game were very well contested, and they were very close too. VLT were able to win the first 4 rounds of the game on the back of just 1v1s and 2v1s going
Yep.
in their favor. It came down to the wire. But after that, VLT started to win with better margins. They started to keep more of their players alive at the end of a round win, and that's how their money advantage. And there are some similarities. Why did they win Split? It's because they beat T69 on a very important round, which was dictating the pace of the economy. And they broke their economy. That's how they were able to win. They did the same thing in this map as well. They didn't break the economy as such, but at least VLT were able to build a bank for themselves so they could afford weapons every time. And we barely saw VLT on an eco.
Yeah. I mean, VLT didn't even let Team T69 build a bank for themselves. Of course, there were good attempts. I felt like this round was actually a pretty good one. Strix with a 3K with the op. I mentioned this was a pretty expensive buy. They had to save for like what 3-4 rounds on a row to get this op online. But once they did that, Strix really gave them dividends. But this was just one round. After that, VLT just kept on cruising in. This was one important backstab that you pointed out, Marzel in the mid area. They were trying to do the C executes and one lurk in mid strategy for quite some time, and Marzel was pretty effective there. He was mostly unchecked on most of the rounds, and that really hurt Team T69 there. Possibly because of the fact that they couldn't really resist the frontal offense. Look at the C executes. Most of the time, Team T69 players had to fall back because they couldn't resist Team VLT just brute forcing their way into side. Now, you cannot even resist a frontal offense. How do you plan to take care of a player in the back line? That's how far ahead Team VLT was in terms of I don't know, teamwork superiority or mechanical superiority, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, VLT, they were just a step ahead. But sure, for sure, Strix with shots like these,
Yeah,
yeah.
those were some really nutty shots, weren't they? No matter
Absolutely.
what
And
you
look at
say, no
this.
matter what happens, those shots were some of the most impressive ones I've seen so far. And then not just the 3K with the Marshall from Strix, even Fox was able to get some nice one taps with the Sheriff later on.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what got T69 a very important round. That was their first ever thrifty victory. Something that VLT have been doing to them for a long time. But hey, even after all of that, T69, they had a decent showing in the first half. Unfortunately, couldn't do much in the second one. Although, I must admire the fact that T69 were playing for defaults, not something that's their natural playstyle, but they were trying to do that against VLT because they expected pushes from them. And to some extent, the defaults worked. They were able to grant
Yeah.
T69 a man advantage more often than not. It's just unfortunately during the retakes they fell short. But why did they fall short? What happened? We'll explore all of that later in the analyst segment, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to take a look at that, stick around until the end, and we'll be back with the analyst desk after a short break. You guys are watching the LG Ultragear TEC Gauntlet Season 2, powered by WD Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the analyst test of the LG Ultragear TC Gauntlet Season 2, powered by WD Black and AMD Ryzen Radeon. As we are back once more after an intense game, honestly, a lot of incredible shots were being hit by both of these teams, but at the same time, it was the side of Velocity having a lot more experience on their side, being able to take the win against the side of Team T69. And honestly, it was a little bit of a surprise in my eyes because I honestly thought that Haven would have been a map that they could have picked up, but at the same time, it really just did not happen for their end. So let's head on down over on towards the side of the map video screen and see exactly what scorelines we are seeing. And when you consider the first initial map being 13 and 8, it may seem close on paper, but at the same time here, Cribs, as we do head on down over to the series highlights for map number 1, it felt like Velocity, they were a little bit lost here.
No, it's just that T69 were a little better on split.
Yeah.
And to good extent, right? They were forcing out errors from VLT. They were forcing VLT to give up map control to them, at least in the first few rounds of this half. They were able to take mid really well. And then VLT, you can see how they were struggling to hold them back. Yeah, sure, the side defense for VLT was good enough, but they were always conceding mid to T69 at the beginning. It eventually came down to VLT setting up traps very passively that were able to stop T69, because every time they tried to contest them head on, T69 were just winning out the trade battles.
Yeah.
And there were so many people peeking you at once, you will never be able to win trade battles against T69. That's one of their core strengths. They fight together. And when it comes down to just brawling, T69 are extremely proficient. And VLT recognize that. They can't just win games by brute forcing their way through. Yeah, of course. Sometimes, moments like these, MW1 can brute force his way in. But then he was able to play around the map and isolate these 1v1s. That's the win condition against a team like T69. You have to isolate the 1v1s. You have to bait them into thinking that they have an advantage when they really don't. Those kind of mind games are the only thing that can stop T69. But still, very well played by Team VLT. They were able to eventually shut down the side of T69 by giving up mid to them, giving T69 what they wanted, but then they contest them at the sides where VLT know they will be stronger.
The thing is, when you do consider Velocity and the way that they can adapt to all of the different strategies that are being employed by their opposition, it is quite interesting to say the very least of how they've actually won out here. Initially, I wholeheartedly believe that Team T69 would have won this. The way that they were playing a lot of the corners, the way that they were able to manipulate the passages that the side of Velocity were trying to take, it was really beautiful. But right at the very end, Velocity finally got their mojo back. They finally were able to understand what the side of Team T69 were trying to employ, and they literally just threw in a curveball and threw the kitchen sink at the same time in the process. Now, what do you catch, the ball or the sink at this stage? Team T69, they got overwhelmed by the amount of dominance that the side of Velocity were showing, especially from the side of MW1. Because honestly, tell me, have you ever seen anyone hold the side of a screen that beautifully? This guy has about like 5 different highlight reels, all from the side of a screen. He just sits behind screens and he holds the side by himself. Is he a duelist or is he an anchor here, Salty? I have no idea.
I mean, he's the best of both worlds. You can rely on him to just hold a side all by himself because he can frag out, right? He can face you head on. He can just stay back and wait for you to just come to him. It doesn't even matter because at the end of the day, he knows how to click heads and he clicks them really, really well. There was one instance in the map of Haven where I remember, I feel like that was MW1's flashiest moment in this entire day. For sure, he's got 3Ks and 4Ks, but that point, he was bombarded by 3 players. All of them simultaneously, he was flashed. He deploys a smoke, dashes back, sprays down 2 of them. Now, this feels like a very typical Bollywood movie where a hero would just destroy a lot of villains at the same time and then possibly save the heroine. And he did that. He is like
Mhm.
that. And yeah, that's their strength. That's this guy's strength.
Yeah, this guy's just way too good to be true. Just look at MW1. Right in this one highlight reel, he gets caught by a breach ult and he still gets one kill, nearly tags down another player, stops him, and it was Edit coming on down through from the side of Heaven was finally able to shut him on down. Like, honestly, I do believe that MW1, he's one of those players that is indispensable for the side of Velocity, and he's one of the primary reasons why they were able to pull off this win on the map of Split. Otherwise, I do believe that this would have been a map pick, a map win, sorry, coming on down through from the side of Team T69. They need to be a little bit more careful here, but at the same time, honestly, Haven, I think that it was much more of a one-sided show, don't you think so, Trips?
Haven definitely was a little bit of a one-sided show. I feel like T69 were a little uncomfortable because they were trying something new out, which isn't natural to them, but it was necessary against a team like VLT. And honestly, that's like the only way that T69 will lose. If you force them out of their comfort zone, that's probably the only time they will make mistakes. But to some extent, T69 were able to dictate the pace of the first half. They were able to get into those backstabbing positions that VLT had to always be very careful about. At one point, VLT were just rushing straight up C again and again and again because they were just so scared of going to a day. And obviously, by the time T69 adjusted to this relentless barrage of C pushes, by the time they put Strix over there, VLT had already changed up their strategy. But they were able to abuse the C side so many times. That's what matters for VLT. That's what gave them the advantage in the first half. A 4-0 lead. And that's when finally T69 decided to show up. That triple kill from Strix, it's a beautiful one. And consider this, he was an opper. How often
Yeah.
do you see ops being successful in retakes? Not very often, but this guy is just on another level. And I think the whole strat of VLT was to avoid Strix, was to make sure that he
Mhm.
doesn't get the room that he needs to pop off. And if you can avoid that, then VLT will be able to counter push them.
It's all about trying to understand the strengths of our opponents and then using that strength against them. And if Strix is a primary anchor and the primary win condition for the side of Team T69, just as you stated, I wholeheartedly believe they just absolutely kited the hell out of him. There is nothing that the side of Team T69 could have done to try and get Strix into a better position so that he could try and go in for some of the kills. Yes, he gets one kill, then immediately gets traded. The thing is, Strix needs to peek with that operator when it comes down to the retakes. As soon as he peeks
Exactly.
one angle, when he tries to dash out, if he's not in a good position to dash out, there's going to be another player to go in and immediately dink him down as soon as he crosses an angle. But at the same time, Strix pulled off heroic plays. There is no other opera that I can think of that can pull off plays like this heroically, other than of course SK Rossi, and Strix is literally high up there as well. This guy pulled off things that you couldn't normally do in a high pressure scenarios, because you need to consider something. High pressure scenarios and opping doesn't go hand in hand, because an opera is a person who is much more calm, much more collected. He can take his time to go with his shots because he's a one-shot kill in comparison to his opposition who needs to counter strafe and then hit the headshot as well, and maybe hit a second one depending if you're a Vandal or a Phantom. All of
Yeah,
these factors come into play, but look at Strix. Strix is just peeking angles and he just doesn't care, man. He's like, I'm better
exactly.
than you, and I'm gonna make you sit down no matter what happens. But at the same time, in a way, like the proficiency of the side of Velocity just added a lot more here. And Salty, I don't know what went wrong for the side of Team T69. I just believe they got outplayed a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, for sure they were outplayed, and we discussed this during the cast as well, right? I remember during the first half, out of the 4 rounds, 2 rounds were eco victories, right? And it just goes to show that they're not really having an off day, but they're
Yeah.
just having an off day with the big guns. And something wasn't really working out. You pointed out beautifully that they certainly were avoiding early engagements with Strix, because Strix was always a man who used to, establish the man advantage. Even T69 did something of that sort when they tried to avoid MW1 for a little bit, but MW1's repositions were really, really unpredictable for that matter. But yeah, I mean, it certainly wasn't the case that Team T69 weren't hitting shots. It was just nobody apart from Strix wasn't getting those impact frags.
Yeah. Impact Frags
Um,
is the name of the game as well. Yeah, Trips. Sorry.
Speaking of impact frags, I want to touch upon what Marzel was doing. In the first half, his lurking was
Yeah.
immaculate. So that kind of threw off all the players of T69. And even though they
Yes.
should have been in a position to go for the retakes, it was Marzel's lurking that kind of threw them off balance. It caught them off guard. And
Oh,
impact fragging obviously is the name of MW1. That's his middle name. Even Amaterasu stepped up today. Both of them had more than 20 frags each. So massive numbers put up by those two players of VLT, whereas T69 couldn't keep up with them in terms of the fragging department. Strake's
yeah.
good, probably. He had some really cool kills, some really cool moments. But if you're dedicating your entire playstyle to counter Strake, still you can't expect that one guy to do all of so much.
Yeah, once you get targeted by your opposition, it gets really difficult. Doesn't matter what game you're playing. As soon as you get targeted, you're going to be under so much pressure. And yes, you can perform if you're one of the best players in the world, just like Strix. But at the same time, it's going to be really difficult to get the best level performance coming down from you. Your teammates need to peel. They need to try and create the space for you. And sadly, here, the side of Team T69, they were not able to create a lot of space for Strix for him to fully unlock that potential and try and take down the opposition jet being MW1. And honestly, MW1, he had all of the space in the entire world pretty much. They were trying to avoid him, but they were not trying to kite him into an angle where he would be very unfavorable. He always had much more of that favorable engagement. They had to be the ones to peek him. And even though he was flashed, somehow he got all of the kills, man. He was sitting under hell. Two people pushed him. And it was the guy jumping down from heaven that got the kill. And not the two players who was pushing him from the side of CT, and no one was there to help him. That's MW1. And honestly, the way that these two Jet players actually played throughout the entire game of Haven, it absolutely was astounding. But ladies and gentlemen, we always do have to crown a winner. And this time when it's going to be the Fallen Kings taking back their crown once again and reaching that higher position just below the side of Team T69. And we're going to be seeing that as we do head on down over towards the group standings here, ladies and gentlemen, and see exactly how the hierarchy of the points are being spread out. And Velocity, finally, they're back to their position, taking the number 4 slot for themselves.
Ooh, that's actually interesting because I almost saw that Team T69 would remain in the number 4 spot, irrespective of what, but no. Velocity, they actually dethroned them because of their extra
Points.
loss, I believe. Yeah, right. So 5 points, but still, VLT is way astray of where they should be. They should be the number 1 spot, looking at the group and everything. But for sure, I feel like both these two teams, Velocity and T69, they have much to contest for. Very hopeful that both these two teams will reach the playoffs eventually. But considering the amount of showing we have seen from the underdogs, per se, the Reckoning, True Rippers, etc., even Valor for a fact from the other group. So, like, these teams, they're just absolutely popping off. So, there is going to be a lot of competition for the likes of Velocity and T69.
Honestly, when you do consider the entire season 2 here, Salty, it's all about the underdogs. Honest, and like,
yeah,
all of the
pretty much.
storylines that we've made here is based upon the underdogs. Valor defeating GE, Enigma defeating the side of Velocity, Force One getting taken out by Outset, and the list just continues over and over and over again. The level of gameplay and coordination that these underdog teams are showcasing here on the map is absolutely incredible, and I'm amazed to see how much further they can grow. Because you need to remember, ladies and gentlemen, we still have a lot more games to go and a lot more chances for these teams to grow even further and to go further beyond their limits right here and right now in the TEC Gauntlet. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, that's all that we have for you today. But before we do sign on off, make sure to check the links down below in the description. If you want that WD Black SSD, if you want a new processor for yourselves, just like me, and I'm pretty sure Salty needs one as well, you got to check the links down below in the description because we got the best possible deal set up for you down there. If you want it at a cheap rate, we got you covered. Don't really worry about that. But as you are down there, make sure to hit the like, hit the subscribe, and also hit the bell to do get notified whenever we do go live with our next big stream. But for now, it's going to be your boy Aggressive, joined by Trips and Salty, and we're going to be signing on off, and we're going to be back with you tomorrow with the LG Ultragear TC Gauntlet Season 2, powered by WD Black and AMD Ryzen Radiant. We'll catch you soon.
One, two, three, let's go. One, two, three, let's go. Let's go.